According to Professor Troy Bickham of Texas A&M University, hot dogs quickly became a fan favorite, with the version we know today stemming from sausages brought over by German immigrants during the 1870s. German immigrants also helped popularize this 4th of July side.
Now, there's a lot of different ways to eat potatoes, but it's the German way is what became the basis of the ubiquitous potato salad in America. The Chicago World's Fair in 1893 brought about the popularity of what we might call the modern hot dogs. The type of sausage was called the Dachshund sausage, named after the dog. So it isn't a big jump to kind of shorten that into a simple hot dog.
They're cheap. They're everywhere. They're the quick dinner solution that's been in American refrigerators for decades. But the hot dogs you buy from grocery stores hide a truth you won't see on the label. From questionable ingredients to clever marketing, here's the real story behind that all-American Frank.
It's a lot of hot dogs. Well, hosting a summer cookout usually requires serving up delicious treats from the grill, but instead of spending too much time stressing over flavor and seasonings, grilling experts say the secret is letting the sauces do all the work. Meanwhile, the National Hot Dog and Sausage Council estimates Americans will eat 150 million hot dogs this 4th of July.
If you get a great sauce on there, that's what everybody's going to remember from the cookout, and you can let somebody else do the heavy lifting and then take all the credit.
You know, people are like, oh, did you make your sauce? I'm like, no, man, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
15. The origins of the American hot dog. Hot dogs didn't start in the United States, but they became one of the most iconic American foods of all time. Rooted in German and Austrian sausage traditions, they made their way to U.S. cities with immigrants in the late 19th century. But as they became mass-produced, the artisanal touch vanished, replaced by industrial efficiency that valued speed and low cost over craftsmanship.
Food can sit outdoors for a very short period of time, so usually we think about, for cold food, about 2 hours, and for our hot food, about 4 hours in time span.
Well, the duo says anything from meats to veggies can be jazzed up with a simple store-bought sauce. Also, remember this safety tip: bacteria on food can multiply fast if left at room temperature or between the danger zone of 40 and 140 degrees.
However, that is going to be shorter if our air temperature is greater than 70 degrees.
A meat thermometer can also help ensure that you are not serving anything undercooked, obviously.
14. The meat isn't always just meat. When you buy a pack of grocery store hot dogs, the meat listed might sound straightforward: beef, pork, or chicken. But that label can hide a mix of mechanically separated meat, a paste-like substance made by forcing animal carcasses through high-pressure machines to strip off every last scrap. While legal in the U.S., it's banned in the European Union for certain meats due to health and quality concerns. 13. Mystery fillers and extenders. Many hot dogs stretch their meat content with fillers like soy protein, modified food starch, and even powdered milk. These are used to bind the ingredients together and keep costs low. While safe for most people, they drastically change the nutritional profile, packing in extra sodium and carbohydrates you didn't bargain for. 12. The preservative problem. Sodium nitrite is one of the most controversial ingredients in grocery store hot dogs. It keeps the meat looking pink and fresh, even after weeks in the package, and adds that signature cured flavor. But studies have linked nitrites to the formation of cancer-causing compounds when heated at high temperatures. Many uncured hot dogs simply use celery powder, which contains natural nitrates, skirting the health debate without really removing the chemical.
The Chicago World's Fair in 1893 brought about the popularity of what we might call the modern hot dogs. The type of sausage was called the Dachshund sausage, named after the dog. So it isn't a big jump to kind of shorten that into a simple hot dog.
11th. Artificial flavor enhancers. Ever wondered why cheap hot dogs still have such a bold, smoky flavor? That's often due to MSG, monosodium glutamate, and other flavor enhancers. These ingredients can make bland meat scraps taste rich and savory, but they also mask the fact that the meat itself may be low grade. 10. The salt overload. A single hot dog can contain 500 to 700 milligrams of sodium, nearly a third of the daily recommended intake. Add a bun, ketchup, mustard, and maybe a side of chips, and you've blown past your limit without realizing it. High sodium levels are a part of why processed meats like hot dogs are linked to hypertension. 9. Low-fat marketing tricks. Reduced fat hot dogs might seem like a healthier choice, but often they replace fat with more fillers, binders, and sugar. You might save a few grams of fat, but end up with a product that's even more processed and less satisfying, leading you to eat more to feel full. 8. The beef label isn't always premium. When a hot dog says 100% beef, it simply means all the meat comes from cattle. It doesn't mean it's prime cuts. In fact, most grocery store hot dogs use trimmings, pieces of meat left over from other processing. This keeps costs low but results in a very different product from artisanal sausages. 7. Color isn't natural. That bright pink hue you see when you open the package, it's not the natural color of cooked meat, it's the result of curing agents and color fixatives. Without them, the meat would look grayish-brown, which is perfectly natural but far less appetizing to the average shopper. 6. Watered down for profit. Water or ice is added during processing to improve texture and increase product weight. While water is harmless, it means you're paying meat prices for a product that may be up to 10% water. Over millions of packages sold, that's a massive profit boost for manufacturers. 5. The shelf life science. Vacuum sealing and preservatives give hot dogs an impressive shelf life, sometimes up to 2 months refrigerated and even longer when frozen. But that extended freshness is only possible because of the chemical cocktail inside, something fresh butcher sausages don't need. 4. Natural isn't always better. Some brands market natural hot dogs with no artificial preservatives, claiming they're healthier, but many still use naturally derived nitrites from celery powder or sea salt, which react in the body the same way as synthetic nitrites. The natural label can be more about marketing than meaningful change. 3. The bacteria risk. Even though hot dogs are pre-cooked, they can harbor dangerous bacteria like Listeria monocytogenes if not stored properly. That's why packages warn you to heat them thoroughly. Listeria can survive refrigeration and is particularly dangerous for pregnant women, infants, and people with weakened immune systems. 2. The price of convenience. Hot dogs are cheap and easy, but the cost savings often come from using the least expensive parts of the animal, combined with fillers, additives, and aggressive preservation methods. The trade-off is that while you're saving money, you may be consuming far more sodium, fat, and chemicals than expected. 1. Healthier alternatives exist, but they're rare. There are artisanal and organic hot dogs made from whole cuts of meat without synthetic preservatives, artificial coloring, or excessive sodium, but they're harder to find, cost 2 to 3 times more, and have shorter shelf lives, which is why grocery store shelves are still dominated by the mass-produced variety.